What the fuck?
Welcome to Taste Like Tea, a podcast in which I talk about myself. My name is Theo. Don't call me Ted. Today is another day for me to talk about things, right? I really liked how I did my last episode with the train to Busan being like my drive home, and I'm gonna see how I do with continuing. This isn't going to be one of those episodes. I'm actually, since I do 2 episodes a week, I figured this might be a good time to, or at least 2 episodes a week for now. Because I have a feeling there's going to be a point where I probably should just cut it down to 1, or maybe 1 every 2 weeks. But as of right now, I have a weird dedication issue to where I refuse to do any less. Even though I could probably spend my time writing and reading and doing all the things I keep saying I don't have time to do if I didn't sit here 2 to 3 times a week talking about myself. So today I'm going to be doing what I watched, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I want to not talk about everything. I want to pick. I'm gonna do 4 films today. I'm gonna try to do 4 films because that seems to be the average of what I get to, and I don't know, why not jump through the week to ones that I specifically want to talk about instead of spending 20 minutes talking about cars, because I for some reason felt like it was necessary to talk about my enjoyment of the video game. I guess before that, anythingbutted@gmail.com. It's an email where you can email me about things. As time goes on, I'll probably run out of things to watch and talk about, and human interaction is one of the most unique things you could do. It's almost like playing, it's like randomly generating a game every time you talk to somebody. You never know what that next line is going to be. Thank you to my brother for the theme song. His name is Vinny. My father claims that our names coincide because Vincent van Gogh has a brother named Theodore, but I don't believe him. It's true, that Vincent van Gogh does have a brother named Theo, but also we have Vincents in our family, so to be like, oh yeah, I named you after the fucking earless artist instead of your great-grandfather or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to talk about 4 films today. I'm going to try and talk about 4 films, and I hope I can do it well. I really do, because I'm doing it this way. This is probably why I haven't done it this way yet, is because I feel the pressure of, because I'm picking certain films, I feel obligated to go into more detail and kind of, have a bit more of a perspective than I do just, a raw opinion. But at the same time, it doesn't matter, because this show doesn't matter, and my opinion ultimately doesn't matter. But I'm going to share it anyway. Oh, God. So, I'm not going to jump into the first film I watched last week, which actually, very few. I didn't watch many films over the weekend, so the 20 or so films I normally watch is less than 15, I think, today. So I'm going to start off with 444, Last Day on Earth, an Abel Ferrara film, written by Abel Ferrara. It's from 2011, and I think all of those things are important. 444 Last Day on Earth was really impactful, honestly. Like, I was really expecting... Did I talk about... Yeah, I talked about zeros and ones the other day. And kind of I had the same idea going into this that I did that, where I was like, there's no way this film that's like so deep in this person's filmography that it's like, it can't be that good, right? That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, there's only so many times Abel Ferrara and Willem Dafoe can make a fantastic film together. Like, right? You can't hit it out of the park every single time. And, you know, New Rose Hotel is kind of an example of that, but that's more of an inability of the viewer fully understanding the subject matter. Whereas this is more or less just people putting it off because, I don't know, modern Ferrara isn't impressive to people, or maybe his name disappeared and faded to nothing. I don't really know. But the 444, The Last Day on Earth, is exactly what it sounds like. I just got water on me. Fantastic. 444, Last Day on Earth is exactly what it sounds like. It's a film about the last day on Earth. But it's done very particularly. So, and it's kind of weird talking about zeros and ones in the past, because technically that's 10 years after this film came out. But I think they kind of travel in the same vein. I feel like both this film, 444 Last Day on Earth, and Zeros and Ones are apocalypse films responding to the issues of the day they were made. So where Zeros and Ones is very obviously a COVID film, there's people in masks, there's a disease going around, there's a lot of human separation, it's a lot of isolation, it's a lot of quiet, it's a lot of empty. With this film, it's made in 2011, and I'll be honest, I can't remember too much about 2011, like in detail. Like, I bet if I looked back at like the video games I played, I can probably pull some events that I've experienced in 2011. But that, I believe, that was my freshman going into sophomore year of high school. I got an Xbox 360. I only got an Xbox 360 because I accidentally pre-ordered the hardened edition for Black Ops for the Xbox 360 instead of the PS3 that I already had. I spent way too much time obsessing over Black Ops. Way too much time. Looking back at all the time I spent paying attention to Call of Duty is really annoying. Similar to... No, hold on. I lost my train of thought. So 2011, right? 2011, I can't confirm this because I don't remember, is kind of what I'm getting at. But this film is about global warming. Or, not even specifically global warming, although that's kind of the root of the topic. The film is a world where the ozone layer was completely demolished, and Earth is about to be exposed to the full, brunt, is that a word, of the sun's rays. Essentially just wiping out life on Earth. Like, our protective layer of air and atmosphere or whatever has been destroyed by basically humanity. That's what the film is, specifically saying, is that like humanity caused global warming to ruin the ozone layer and thus destroy humanity. like many end of the world stories, it's usually self-inflicted by the people themselves, if not intentionally. So it's a film about the last day on Earth. It's literally like from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. I'm pretty sure it goes. The film takes place from like 6 a.m. to 4:44 a.m. the next day. So it's quite literally like a full day. It's not even just some of a day. It's not like you're waking up to the last day. So, and I'm only saying 6 a.m. as like being presumptuous, because why not offer them the full 24 hours in the film? So it's Willem Dafoe, primarily Willem Dafoe, and this woman named Shannon Lee, who plays a character named Sky. And they are just living in a flat. It's not your standard apartment. It's like, it's not a studio either. It's very high end, but not top of the line. Very spacious for a city apartment. It's not necessarily a loft either, but it's inching on that. So Willem Dafoe and his name is, what is the fuck his name? Castro? Cisco and Sky are living together. Sky is an artist. I'm pretty sure from like the first frame she's painting. If not, she's a painter. And she's painting this, like, it reminds me of that masterpiece of Hal's from Malcolm in the Middle, where he just kept throwing paint onto the same canvas until it was satisfactory to him. Except this was a lot more cohesive and a lot less chaotic. She would put on a layer, let it dry, put on a, like, it was very particular. And the story paralleled the art, which I can't fully explain verbally, but the way that painting was represented in this film is almost exactly the same way that the painting in The Driller Killer is presented, which is Abel Ferrara's first feature film that wasn't porn. Although his first porn, well, the only porn he's ever made, top of the line. And it helps you, learn about the Bible and why you don't want to. Never mind. I'm not going to get into that. I don't care. I've used that porno though to make the argument, and it sticks because it's a good argument. So Willem Dafoe, he's the main character, right? The thing is, he doesn't. He gets characterization. He gets a backstory. He gets lines. He gets it all, but he's also super ambiguous with his character because he's just. So the name of the movie is what the film is. It's quite literally just like these people woke up and they are aware that this is their last day on Earth. And it's just 90 minutes. Is it 90? 82 minutes. This is a fucking ripper. He spends 82 minutes just showing you the day of people who know that there's no tomorrow. And it really hit me emotionally. It's a really heavy film, and I can't fully express how I resonated with it so much, because, like, well, how about this? So it's not your standard end of the world. It's not like bombs were dropped. It's not like zombies showed up. It's not like Death Note, where you can, everybody is going to die inevitably and they have a set date and you can know it. It's the fact that everybody on Earth simultaneously is aware that the next day nothing will exist. Humanity will be gone. And it's a really heavy idea, because I mean, so the film starts off with like a 10-minute sex scene Which, you know, rightfully so. Because, like, when you ask somebody, what are you going to do for the last day on Earth? What are you going to do? What can you do that makes your knowledge of the last day on Earth actually, like, relevant? Like, what? And this is a genuine question, because I don't know. I don't fucking know. I can't. I'll get to the line that fucks with me, but, like, I just can't conceptualize not just me leaving the world tomorrow, but that there is no tomorrow. So the film starts off with like a 10-minute sex scene, and yes, that makes a lot of sense. It's a lot of out of focus. There's some tits. I did not catch any Willem Dafoe dong, which I was a little disappointed in, because you do kind of get some slightly out of focus, like, actual vagina stuff. Not like head on or anything, but way more than you would expect from a standard non-pornographic or non-extreme film. It was out of focus, but you can still into it. Not even into it, you can see it. Anyway. And that makes sense, because the world is ending, and one of the greatest human pleasures is sex, sure. So that tracks. And of course, but you can't do that all day. Not like you can't, like you shouldn't, but like, it's going to become frustrating and just kind of unfun after a while, to the point where you kind of ruin it. You know, excess is destruction. So sex scene is over, and then Willem Dafoe, pretty sure, like, takes a nap or something. Meanwhile, Sky is, like, doing more art. And her art is really interesting, except it's not focused on, but you see it constantly. Like, anytime there's an in-between scenes or something, it's either Willem Dafoe, like, staring off into the skyline, or a Sky dropping paint on this large ass piece of paper, and then, you know, setting up fans and stuff to dry out the layers. So Willem Dafoe is done having sex. He falls asleep, and he wakes up. I don't remember. I don't know how long. They never really tell you how long or anything. Time doesn't really exist in this film, which is weird, because it's all set on a time limit. But he has this monologue after. Well, first of all, he wakes up and he goes, "You let me sleep? Are you crazy?" Like, he doesn't harp on it, and that's a really important thing about this film, is that he and many others try not to harp on negative things, because it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter, like. So, yeah, he can be mad that he slept and killed a little bit of the day, but being mad doesn't change anything. And that's kind of true throughout life in general, but, like, when there's no tomorrow, there's no point being mad. Maybe this is one of those things where it's like the film is telling you how to live, or how you should be living. And you shouldn't hold grudges or whatever, and I don't know. That's not the point. That's not what I'm getting at. So he wakes up, and he's a little annoyed that he fell asleep. And he goes and, like, walks around for a little bit. I don't know if he says he wants to be alone, or if he just kind of wanders around. They're in a small apartment. They're two people. They're two adults that live together. They can choose to walk away from each other without just, like, announcing what they're doing. He goes outside, and he has this little mumbling monologue where he's just kind of like, he's frustrated and sad and worried. He's like, well, this is the last day, and like what does that mean? And he says this line. I'm gonna try and remember it. Maybe I wrote it down. How does a person not plan for the future? He's sitting there, like, pacing around on the roof, just like what do I do? Like, how do I live this last day? How can you exist as a human and not think ahead? Like it's against humanity's structure that, like, the whole thing that we do is we do things to benefit the future, like the in the now. So that's like a big thing that he's considering. He starts blaming people. He gets mad at the government for, like, making decisions to overly exert the world, and, like, just, like, blaming corporate capitalism and stuff like that for kind of tricking humans into thinking that destroying the earth is the only way to live. And then in the middle of blaming a bunch of people, he starts blaming himself. He's like, I cut down a tree once. And he's like, what if that did it? What if that tree was, like, the line between death tomorrow and death in 100 years? And, he doesn't harp on it for long. He doesn't harp on anything for too long. He can't. He has no reason to. It's better off to die with a smile or whatever. His wife left him, which is a whole other thing. His wife was kind of a cunt. She'd rather make fun of her daughter's father instead of comforting the daughter with her last day on Earth. Really ignorant character, and it brings down a little bit of negative feelings towards her, because, like, Willem Dafoe's daughter is there, just, like, tormented with this woman in denial. That's just, I don't know. But some other stuff happens. Natasha Lyonne is in it, which is really cool. She's doing drugs naturally. It's her signature move that she does, but she looks great in her suit. Willem Dafoe tries to, like, go out doing heroin. He watches a person kill himself because, and this is something my partner said, it was like, they said they would just kill themselves, and I totally get it. When that guy jumped, I totally got it, and people just wouldn't leave the dude's body alone. Willem Dafoe gets mad at him. He's like, just leave the guy's body alone. Like, if you're going to do one thing today, leave him alone. He chose to be there on the last day because that's better than the alternative, whatever that was. Yeah, it's just a really emotional film. I feel like I got on a little too long on it, but it's just really, really, really powerful. Like I said, it's 82 minutes. It definitely feels longer than 82 minutes, which is probably a problem to an extent, but I was so moved by like everything from, like, even characters I didn't like, they just, because it's not a scale, it's not the size of the problem, it's not the scale of the amount of people dying that's impactful. It's the fact that you get to meet these people who are just doing their best, and it really makes you think about what you would do in a situation like that, and genuinely I have no clue. And until I figure that out, I probably won't ever stop thinking about this film. I almost bought a Blu-ray off of Vinegar Syndrome last night because it has a cool slipcover, but I can't afford it. Beautiful. So that's 444 Last Day on Earth. Spoiler alert, the world ends, or at least it implies it ends. I'm pretty sure there's there's possibly a take where you can say something along the lines of it was just a dream, or they never actually explicitly showed anything, or it was a mass hysteria kind of thing and everyone will wake up tomorrow, but that's not the point. So that's 444 Last Day on Earth. It's absolutely beautiful. If I watch it again, I'm probably upping my score, because I lowered it like 6 hours after I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, and I'm like, this film can't be 4.5 out of 5. And I dropped it to 4, but the more I sit on it, the more I realize it's everyone else that's wrong, like usual. my opinion is right, and the letterbox masses are just dumb and don't see it. Especially since I seem to resonate with Abel Ferrara films very easily. I don't know if it's because I know what to look for, or if he knows what to say that gets me to think about it, or if it's just me being a fanboy. Whatever it is, 444 Last Day on Earth is amazing. And as long as you can't dismiss it. You can't look at it and go like, this doesn't make any sense. You have to take it as it is, because like, they don't give you a lot of information intentionally, because that's not the point. The point is the world is going to end. And it's due to human negligence because of the rapid progression of society and the need to over consume, and etc. etc. Yeah, it's a really powerful film, and I really recommend it. Moving on to my second of hopefully 4 films is Mick Garris's Riding the Bullet. Or I'll just say Riding the Bullet, directed by Mick Garris. It's actually a Stephen King. It's not a Mick Garris. I think it's Stephen King's Riding the Bullet, directed by Mick Garris. It's technically not a Stephen King's blank, but it is written by him. It's written... The short story is written by Stephen King. Mick Garris adapted this. And this film is also very, very impactful. But this one for a more personal reason. Not because I can conceptualize my own death or my lack of understanding of my mortality and what I can do with it or whatever. This is like a deeply personal story. So Mick Garris says a lot that the death of a loved one deepens you. You can't ever get over someone's death, but what you can do is adapt and learn and be. So, I mean, obviously I have a very strong resonance with that. Because the last 3 years of my life have been exclusively trying to figure that out, like trying to come to that conclusion myself. And this film is exactly someone working through that. Mick Garris, as I said, he says that thing. He says the thing that death deepens people. And the closer you are to that person, the deeper you have to dig to get to it. And this film is Mick Garris grieving. This film is about the death of his brother. I'm getting chills just thinking about it, because it's like, I don't even know how his brother died, honestly. Like, I can probably find an episode of his podcast or something where he talks about it, but genuinely, I don't know anything about Mick Garris's brother. All I know is that when he died, Mick Garris took it really hard, and he modeled a lot of his work after him. Some of his writing even reflects some of the stuff. He even mentions his brother in his writing. To appreciate Riding the Bullet is to appreciate Mick Garris, because I'll be honest, the film isn't outstanding. I liked it, but I could like whatever. Yeah, I like whatever. But the film itself, like, I could see when there's a lower quality versus enjoyment. I get that. Sometimes I deny it because sometimes the rest of the people are wrong, right? I mean, Cat in the Hat is a perfect film. And anyone who doesn't understand that simply just doesn't get it. And that's their own fault. Or their parents, depending on how old they are. But Riding the Bullet... So it's not exclusively about Mick Garris. You can't... It's a Stephen King story. You can't just adapt it into something that completely different. And you might hear some parallels. Now that I gave like a small little backstory of Mick Garris's dead brother, and like that this film is a reflection of that. And I think this film is how Mick Garris came to that conclusion, that thought that death deepens you. Because it's almost like every line in this film is leading up to someone about to get to that thought. Which only makes me wonder, like, how hard he was going through it before he figured that out. Because he's such a soft-spoken and, like, caring-sounding person. So, yeah, it's not about Mick Garris exclusively, but, like, the plot is essentially this heavily suicidal, depressed, I think he's in college, but he might just be high school. He's like a younger person. He has patchy facial hair and a higher pitched voice. My partner asked if he was trans. I'm almost positive he isn't, but I'm not going to say no entirely because I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was just the dude's voice. So this dude is just convinced that nobody likes him. He has it built into his head that everything is leading up to no one liking him. He's convinced his girlfriend's going to break up with him, and so he goes home to kill himself. And as he's about to do it, literally like blade to the wrist, his girlfriend busts in and wishes him a happy birthday with like a surprise party. And then he wakes up at the hospital. He didn't fully kill himself. They got him safely or whatever. And then in the wake of recovering from this suicide attempt, where his friends are being kind of shitty about it. One guy is like, "Come on, man, it was just an accident, right?" And the other guy is like, "Nah, dude, he totally wanted to die." Like, just completely talking about this man like he's not next to him, and that's really shitty of them. So he it's based in like the 60s, so just as a quick heads up, because the next sentence is John Lennon and Yoko Ono are playing live and he got tickets, so he's gonna go see him. He doesn't have a car though, so he asks his roommate to bring him. Spoiler alert, he doesn't make it because he gets a call that his mother had a stroke. And he decides to go see her immediately. He doesn't have a car, so he hitchhikes the entire way, where he meets a handful of really sketchy-looking people and forces him to really consider the different kinds of things he could be doing to get to his mother faster, and, like, does his safety really matter in such a pressing moment? I think that's really important about this film, and it's probably my favorite part about the film outside of it, directly speaking about grief, is that the main character, what the hell is his name? Jeremy? Alan. Jesus Christ. Alan has, like, major anxiety. So remember how I said he thinks his girlfriend's going to break up with him, and he's convinced everyone hates him? It's all part of this anxiety. And, It's displayed in a very particular way that I'm pretty sure people hate, but I love. I'll admit it gets exhausting after a 90-minute film, but when you're building up characterization, it's good, I think. So his anxieties push him to see visions of what could be happening. It's very much like Scrubs, like a Scrubs cutaway where it doesn't always have a clean cut, so you never actually know until the cutaway ends that it's a cutaway. It'll be like, "Sir, can you help me give this person a shot?" And he'll go, "Oh, sure." And then he'll, like, cut the dude's arm off and be like, "Wait a minute, that's really fucked." And then it'll zoom out and be like, "Oh yeah, that's because he's only imagining that he cut someone's arm off." That's a lot of this film. That's Alan's character. So when he gets the call that his mom had a stroke, he hovers his hand over the phone, like afraid to pick it up because he just doesn't want more bad news to come his way. and he imagines picking up the phone, and I think it's like his girlfriend making fun of him or something. Basically just like a super undesirable situation that would totally make someone think, yeah, maybe it's safer not to pick up the phone. But he picks it up anyway, and they're like, sorry, dude, your mom had a stroke. You gotta come over here. So yeah, he gives his friends the Yoko tickets. I mean, why would you want it anyway? But he gives his friends the tickets, and he starts hitchhiking. I don't know why his friends didn't drop him off a little further down the road or something, but like, come on. If he was able to walk there essentially throughout the entire night, I'm pretty sure a little detour on your way up to see Yoko Ono wasn't going to hurt. So he's hitchhiking. He's still having anxieties about everything, literally everything. He's assuming the worst for every single thing. My partner took this as like he's just fighting suicide, and I kind of scoffed that off immediately. But once we got to the end of the film, I realized that that's exactly what is happening. But their assumption of how the film ended is completely wrong, because in their eyes, someone that close to suicide is probably just going to do it eventually, and the sight of his dying mother is probably not going to help in that situation. So I totally understand where that hypothesis came from, but I still refused it. I'm like, there's no way. This is a film about Mick Garris grieving over his brother. So what could that mean if this main character is Mick Garris? So even though it didn't end the way I expected it to, I was still denying the chance that it was going to end with him killing himself. At least at the moment. I definitely wavered in that thought for a few moments occasionally, but overall, I was convinced that he was going to make it out alive. The question was, what happens to his mom? So then, this is getting a little long. I might end up only doing two or three. We'll see. So, he's hitchhiking. He meets some really fucking weird people, and they all make him deeply uncomfortable in a different way, and his anxiety forces him to think of the worst. Oh, and Mick Garris fucking killing it with adapting Stephen King. I'll have to rant about Mick Garris specifically with Stephen King stuff another day, but him adapting Stephen King in this is so perfect. And I don't know if it's because this is Stephen King's first original screenplay. So this is the first time he's ever said, I want to write a movie. And Mick Garris is the one... No, is that Sleepwalkers? That's Sleepwalkers, I'm sorry. I'm mixing that up. My Mick Garris lore. Sorry, yeah, I already said earlier that Mick Garris wrote this entire thing. Wrote the screenplay. But Stephen King, what am I saying? Stephen King... Okay, so he adapts the Stephen King voice perfectly here. Because a lot of Stephen King writing is internal thoughts and like fighting with yourself and kind of just like literally just internal thoughts being the primary engine for delivering information. And this film takes those internal thoughts, duplicates the main character Alan, and places a spectral him in the scene to talk at him with his internal problems. And I'm pretty sure he does actually reply to himself out loud, which makes me really lean into that schizophrenia thing. But yeah, all of his internal thoughts, his internal, the worst is going to happen anxieties, they're all visualized in some way, shape, or form. So like you have his cutaway anxieties of like, shit, this thing's going to happen. And you have like conversational anxieties where his doppelganger self is telling regular him that like, oh dude, you gotta lie, man. This dude is not gonna trust you unless you tell him something that isn't the truth. So Like his anxiety just forces him to do stuff he doesn't necessarily want to. And then, David Arquette is in this, by the way, and he drives Christine, the car. What is that, like a Plymouth, 67 Plymouth or something? I don't know. I don't remember the exact car. But, David Arquette is the last person to pick him up on his way to his mom. And, I don't know exactly why it ended up this way. I feel like I have to read the book to kind of understand, like, the symbolism behind why it was a guy, like, why is hitchhiking and being picked up by a guy, like, how does that symbolize your choice of, like, to live or die or anything? But, so he gets in the car, and his anxiety is telling him to lie to David Arquette, but, secretly David Arquette knows everything, because, spoiler alert, he is a zombie, who exists specifically to give people ultimatums. And he gives Alan an ultimatum that says, look, I'm going to get you to this hospital on time, but you need to make a choice right now. Like, before we hit town, you have to tell me, are you going to die tonight, or is your mother? And it's another one of those 444, like, Last Day on Earth thing, because it's really just, like, fuck, like, how do you consider that? So, this kid is, and this is where my going, like, oh my god, he is gonna kill himself. Like, he loves, me projecting Mick Garris into Alan, told me that Alan was going to choose his mother's life over his, because that's what I assumed Mick Garris was trying to say, was that he was like, I would do anything. I would give my own life to have my brother back on this earth. So when he was presented with this ultimatum of like you're living or your mother's living, both of you can't live. And it's a lot of indecision. You really, really think that Alan is going to pick his mom. You really, really think that, because that's the whole reason he's going on his adventure. He's choosing enjoyment of every sort. He's choosing his mom over enjoyment of every kind. But after a bunch of shit goes down, he does eventually say, like, look, I want to live. And David Arquette's like, fine, that's it. That's the thing. He gets to the hospital. There's some cool trickery that makes you go like, no, he didn't get to her already. And then you see it. But he gets to her. Alan finds his mom. They hug, and they appreciate their presence with each other. And then, like, some years pass, and then she dies. So some years pass, and he's like, oh, maybe the curse isn't real. Maybe I imagined the entire thing. But then his mother just kind of, like, keels over one day, like, 2 years later. And it ends with the main Mick Garris thing. So it opens with a lot of ponderous, like, home videos that I'm pretty sure could totally be just actual home videos of Mick Garris's brother or whatever, but it's probably not. But it has that energy of, like, family home tapes. That's how the film opens, before Alan tries to kill himself. Then at the end, when his mom dies, he's giving this, like, is it like a monologue? He's basically saying, like, I don't regret choosing my life. I don't regret living my life, because it's my life to live, and it's my responsibility to live that life. But I appreciate the 2 years that he being David Arquette, giving me of spending time with my mother. And that is the part of the film that is, like, truly about his brother, because I hate just, like, fully dragging it back to that, but that's how I saw it. Is his mother dies, he's at the funeral saying, like, I don't regret making that choice, but I'm gonna miss you because you were part of my life. But also, those 2 extra years that were gifted to him, that were like, it was almost merciful, is how he saw it. He's like, he thanked David Arquette for those extra couple years. Not directly, but like internally, he's like, I am thankful that those 2 years existed. And I think Mick Garris just needed a couple more years, man. Because, I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, regret is a thing that you can't avoid. And, it was a very powerful film. The film isn't great, but as a story about and for Mick Garris, it's beautiful. And, I really appreciated it. Mick Garris is an amazing filmmaker, and, just because he makes some cartoony, like, he knows what horror is, you know? He does the thing, and he loves doing it, and he doesn't care. Well, he cares, but he cares about it as an artist. There's a little bird on this sign right here, a little itty-bitty bird. I've never seen such an itty-bitty bird. It looks like someone's house bird. It's tiny. It's like probably 2 inches tall and bright yellow. I can't tell if it's facing me or not. If it's not facing me, it has a black tail. If it is facing me, it has a black beak. Itty bitty. Like tiny. Probably fits in my palm. I could probably fit 3 of them in my palm. But yeah. That shit's beautiful. Riding the Bullet was amazing. And I totally recommend it. Next, I'm going to talk about... Today's Monday? Yeah. Next, I'm going to talk about Mondo Cane. Jesus, what a fucking shift, right? I talked about 2 films about being slow, ponderous, and grief-filled, like, emotional stories. Now I'm going to talk about Mondo Cane. Mondo Cane! It is an Italian film. It is an Italian... I think it's technically a documentary. I really don't know how true that is. I really don't. I don't know, because... So, Mondo Cane is... It's a film that is a collection of things that happen around the world. It's intentionally just collection of video clips that quote... No, I'm not going to quote, but titillate, excite, and disgust. I think those are like the main words that they want. Yeah, and it's just like... I mean, what it's really doing is it's being super racist. It's a super racist documentary that kind of just says, like, look at all the weird things that the people around the world do that you don't. But it's using really extreme footage to do it. So, like, I mean, the opening credits happen over footage of what appears to be a farmer feeding a bunch of rabid dogs another dog. I think that's what's happening. Like, yeah, it's not like they're like showing you the violence because they want to show you violence, but they're showing you weird shit because they want you to be like, whoa. It is still intended for shock value, but it's sort of educational in a really, like, you have to be objective about it because the narrator is fucking racist. The way that they present things is fucking racist. And like the superiority complex they have of like Americans and versus like literally anybody in Asia. It's a whole thing. So I'm not going to go through like everything. There's no reason to. But there's a few things that definitely like I guess I should warn you, this might get a little extreme because, like the first clip I mentioned is a dog being fed to a bunch of other dogs. Nice. I just saw the wind knock a sign down. Cool. But like, there are some shocking things that happen in this film, and I think, although I don't necessarily care, I think it's responsible of me to at least bring it up. Italians looking at things around the world is generally very, I mean, that's how the cannibal movies came around, you know? It's Italians going, hey, let's do something in another country. So, the first thing that really stuck out to me, and when I say stuck out, I really mean like it was less of like, yeah, I know this stuff exists. No, that's not true, because the thing I'm talking about I knew it existed, and it wasn't a shock for me to find out, but it was a shock for me to see. And it was, I can't tell you the country, maybe Singapore, somewhere, but it's footage of people cooking and eating dogs. And not just any dogs, but highly specific breeds of dogs that in America would be considered intelligent and specifically companion animals. I'm pretty sure I saw like baby labs. Like, it's crazy, but you know, obviously people eat animals, you know, and I'm not surprised that dogs get eaten. That's not the scary part. It's not seeing them being boiled in like just furless, like fetuses looking things. It was the fact that they have a cart with like way too many dogs in a tiny cage, which is just distressing on its own. They're barking and freaking out and stuff. Then 5 feet away from that cage full of dogs is the guy butchering and cooking the dogs, which they show a couple clips of. They see a man like chopping at some ribs and throwing them in pots and stuff like that. And then 5 feet away from that is a table full of dudes just eating the dog. So it's not the act of eating, it's not the cooking that is disturbing. It's the fact that they have these dogs in sight like a fucking like tank of lobsters in the middle of a dining room, going like, yeah, you get to pick your animal that you get to eat. They also say you can like bring your own, which is fucked. Like, you could just pull any dog off the street and be like, hey, I want to eat this. Disturbing and uncomfortable to think about, but it's the image of dogs and puppies in cages staring at these men eating presumably siblings that were presumably alive 10-20 minutes ago. Like, maybe dogs can't conceive that kind of thing. They must, to an extent. I mean, I don't know, but it was very shocking, very intense. After that, there was they have footage of foie gras. I don't know how to pronounce it. Foie gras. That stupid ass French dish that shouldn't exist. If you're unfamiliar, it is, and I don't know the exact details of it, but I believe it's the, what's that word? It's a thing white people don't want in their veins. Not heroin. That's something they love. I'm losing it the further now that I said heroin. I can't stop thinking about that. What am I talking about? Fuck. Foie gras. Fuck. You get it from eating too many eggs. Not cortisone. Not cortisol. Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh man. Think back. Heart disease commercials. Heart disease. Plaque. It's almost plaque. It's plaque, but for the veins. Anyway, it's the process of force feeding geese until they die. That's really the easiest way to put it. If you want a little bit more detail, sure. It is force feeding geese until they become overweight and die of heart disease. Might be an easier way to describe it. They keep geese in cages, and they have this like mechanical funnel that they shove down the throat of these geese, and you fucking see it, like uncut footage of someone just. The only thing you don't see is what kind of food is being put into this funnel, but it's a metal funnel with like a UFO looking thing on the top. The tube is getting shoved down the throat, like at least 8 to 12 inches down this goose's throat to like bypass its chewing and like esophagus or whatever. Basically just injecting food directly into their stomach. And then on the top is like a crank, and they're just grinding down food and forcing it down this thing's throat. I don't know how it doesn't suffocate. They must have figured that part out. But the worst part about it is not that you're watching this happen, but the fact that they say, and it used to be worse. This is a much more humane way to do it. And from my little bit of knowledge of humans using the word humane, specifically with the death penalty, humane usually just means more comfortable to watch, less disturbing to see. They don't care how much more painful something could be, as long as it doesn't look painful. My dad once told me that if you catch a mouse in a glue trap, the most humane thing to do is to drown them in the toilet. Maybe. I watched it happen, and it didn't look humane, I'll tell you that. I would much rather have stepped on it. Genuinely. So the word humane is just less icky to think about. And their idea of more humane when it comes to making foie gras, a food that requires you to force feed an animal against its will, make it die of basically obesity in a sense, and suffer entirely because it can't be dead while you do it. You have to do it while it's alive. So they're like, yeah, we used to, the crates are really nice. They're small and compact, and they keep them where they are. You know, if they walk around, they burn too many calories, and it's a waste of doing it, which is just so gross to think about. But that's kind of what they do with chickens too anyway. It's like, they don't want you burning weight because they want the chickens to be as big as possible. It's the same thing with this. So they force feed into, but they said, they're like, yeah, before we got the crates, which the crate is not a new invention. Like, they're like, yeah, we used to keep them from walking around, we would nail their feet to boards and do this. And I don't think that's any more or less humane. Because you're still fucking shoving food down an animal's throat until it dies. It sucks to think about, man. And like, yeah, there's a lot of animal cruelty in this film, but a lot of it is traditional, and yes, very cruel. Cruel in the act. But a lot of them are because they need to eat. Because they need to eat. And no, they don't have to mass murder 300 pigs and eat them all at once. That's just the culture. But they're eating them. The entire thing. Presumably the goose gets eaten in its entirety. But it's not being tortured nearly as... See, that's where the line is, right? Because realistically, if I was to say I don't want animals tortured, I would probably be anti-meat in general. But I understand that that's not how that works. What I understand is that the damn French don't need to eat foie gras. They could just not do that. They don't need to force feed geese to become fat and die of obesity and have I can't think of the fucking word. Cholesterol. It's cholesterol. Good work. Yeah. So, while they're showing footage of like foreign countries being like, look at how fucking weird these foreign country people are. They were doing a lot of like this and like them and us kind of things. So, like after they showed the dogs being eaten, they cut to a quote unquote civilized country, maybe Italy, where they're dyeing little chickens different colors to celebrate Easter. And although I don't understand how a chick doesn't die in a 150-degree oven, they get their feathers dyed. They're little cutesy. And then a little bit later, they talk about how there's a specific village that is highly malnourished, but they keep a select amount of women obese. I was worried because they were going to eat them. And honestly, I don't know why they didn't, to be honest. But, God, I hate landscapers so much. You have a cool job or whatever. It's hard working. You pick the worst fucking days to do it. Yeah, so there's the them versus us thing. So like, they're showing these women being fattened up because fat people in certain cultures are seen as wealthy and just like immensely desirable. Jesus fucking Christ. Genuinely annoyed. I'm actually... No, I can't move my car yet. I won't find a parking spot. I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with it. So... women are being fattened up, and basically they're there to be impregnated by the chief. And I'm pretty sure that it's just like a way to keep population up. The weird thing about it, though, is that... God, I hate you all so much. Shit like this that makes me wish I lived in a fucking cement box. Like, I don't need the sun. And I don't need to listen to this fucking gray ass man with his riding mower. Here, I'm pausing it because I just can't. I'm sorry. Alright, I am moving my car now, so it's gonna be a little quieter. But it's gonna be louder than it was. Love it, right? Okay, so they fatten women up, and I thought they were going to eat them. They don't. They use them to reproduce. It's a weird thing because the clan like struggles with eating people, like eating food, like finding food, but they reproduce consistently, and I think it has something to do with milk. Like maybe it's more worth the chance of like not having a successful living child to prolong your milk production. Maybe that's a thing. But yeah, so it cuts from that of like, yeah, look, fat women in this country are loved, and then it cuts to LA or something like that, and they're like, but in America, fat women suck, and they only exist to lose weight. And then they're showing that old school like gym, the one where it's just women being rubbed on by like random apparatuses, and they think that is like working out. Like they're in full business attire, just being rubbed on by things, and they think that just the friction... I mean, maybe it's true, maybe it worked, I don't think it did. It sounds pretty dumb to me, but... pretty sure that, yeah, so they're like getting rubbed on things, and then the narrator's saying shit like... And to recover from their widowhood, to attract a male, they must shed off the weight that they gained through their last marriage. or else they will be, I don't know, stuck alone forever. It's literally, that's what they're saying, is if you are a woman in America, you better be losing weight. You best be doing that. One thing I haven't mentioned, so that's kind of like what I meant, is like there's a dichotomy to it, is like, they're like, yeah, look at how fucked up this country is for eating animals, and look at how dumb these white people are for caring so much about their weight. But also, look at these people who can't speak English. They get to control women, that's pretty cool. But look at us. We intentionally pretend to drown so that Australian women can kiss us. That's Australians, by the way. I'm not going to get into that one. It's kind of boring and really stupid. I'm pretty sure it's there specifically because they needed quote-unquote titillation and a bunch of women in bathing suits doing quote-unquote mouth-to-mouth, which is literally just light kissing, because the men aren't actually, drowning. Anyway, the other thing I forgot to mention is that this film is like really high quality. Everything looks really, really nice. When I heard of a film that's like, when I heard about this, one, I thought it was going to be more death. I thought it was going to be like a Death Tapes type thing and less of like a World of Wonders type thing. But I also expected it to be a lot more varying in quality. I was expecting this film to be more or less cut together from like a bunch of other things. But what it is actually is it's a single crew, maybe a couple crews, because I think there's like 2 or 3 directors credited, plus a bunch of different... Anyway, I wish I didn't say anyway, because I don't remember what I was saying now. I hate having perception. I should just close my eyes and talk into the darkness. One little movement distracts me and I forget what's going on. I thought it was going to be Death Tapes and stuff, but the quality of the film is really nice. Like, it almost feels like they spent extra money on film because they wanted it to look extra pretty. Because, like, it's all filmed by the same-ish crew, with the same directors. It's not like, hey, can we buy this tape from you because it has fucked up shit on it? It's nothing like that. So the entire film is just in this amazing clarity that, like, even surpasses... I shouldn't say even surpasses, like, Cannibal Holocaust is super high quality. That's intentionally, I think, 8mm or something like that. But it's just a really clean picture, and it's not something I expected from a film that has footage of someone making foie gras. Like, I saw some high... Was it fidelity? Is that a word for it? A high-quality image of this goose being force-fed through a funnel. You saw the rust on the funnel. It was so detailed. There was very little grain to it. And the entire film is shot that way. On top of that, the music has a very upbeat kind of energy to it. And yeah, it was I didn't hate it. It was definitely long and it was longer than I wanted it to be, and it was less fun and less gruesome than I wanted it to be. Not that I wanted to see real people die, but I was really, like, assuming there was going to be some sort of cannibalism thing. They do some fucked up shit at the end with the New Guinea people. I don't remember. Let me read it. Yeah, I wrote, literally doing what Cannibal Holocaust was criticizing. Right, because they were showing footage of a tribe in New Guinea, and they were describing them like we were looking into a portal at cavemen. And they're like, these are people who are stuck in the Stone Age. They are so far behind us civilized people, that they're practically savages. They hit things with rocks, and they sit on the ground, and they don't bathe because they're dirty and they don't know English. And like, they're not saying all these explicitly, but that's what they're getting at. They just talk about them like as if they don't exist, and they're just fictitious characters. It's really gross. And it's doing, like I wrote in that review, exactly what Cannibal Holocaust is criticizing. Because Cannibal Holocaust is saying, here, look at these shitty people claiming that these other people are savages. Meanwhile, they're doing savage things to these quote-unquote savages, because they think that as savages, they're not worthy of being treated as humans. Therefore, the white people who think they're human, more human than anyone else, degrade to brutality and animalistic torture because they think it's funny, and they are actually as equally as brutish as we think they are. They being non-white people, in this case, New Guinea. Yeah, it was a very... So, like, you know, don't watch it because you want to be entertained. Don't watch it because you want to, like, I don't know, see gore. It's literally just footage of things that happen around the world. And, honestly, I would have preferred if they stuck to gruesome and stuff and just cut out all the titillating, because one-piece bathing suits from the 70s don't titillate, like, to the fullest extent that they would think. Alright, let's see. I have about 15-20 minutes. Can I get another film in? You know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about Scary Movie 3, because I don't have a lot to say about it, but I have a lot that I think about it. So yeah, that was Mondo Cane. I watched it on DVD. I bought the first and second Mondo Cane along with a bunch of other really controversial films and DVDs and stuff. Singapore Sling, graphic sexual horror, or graphic sexual violence, whatever it's called. Like a collection of things that I can't watch when my partner's around. So I get maybe one a week. And this was my one last week. Yeah, it was worth watching. There was some behind the scenes. The main menu is the fucking weirdest shit ever. Maybe one day I'll talk about it. But I'm gonna move on to Scary Movie 3. Why I love Scary Movie 3. I'm a big fan of Scary Movie 1. I may have mentioned it on one of my last episodes, but I am not a huge fan of Scary Movie 2. I think it's mediocre at best. And Scary Movie 3, I think, is the best. Which is a shame to say, because I really like the Wayans brothers. But at the same time, maybe it's because the Wayans brothers are gone and that the Airplane crew took over, that Scary Movie 3 is funnier. Which it is. It has Leslie Nielsen in it, which alone makes the film funnier. Charlie Sheen, I can take him or leave as, like, in a general sense, but he is a staple in the Scary Movie movies. Like 3 and 4, he's barely in 4. He's barely in 3, actually, but I still appreciate him. And Dirt Nasty's in it doing the Eminem thing, and it's mostly about Signs, which is one of the most like influential horror films I've ever seen. It's one of the first I've ever seen. One of the first memories I ever gotten is from that movie. But yeah, it's Signs mixed with The Ring. That's like the main mishmash, and it's a funny film. The thing that I really want to talk about is I rented the DVD from the library yesterday, so I watched the special features, and I was like, oh, it doesn't have much on it. It's only the deleted scenes and like a single making of. Turns out that's all you needed, because this shit's packed to the brim with information. First of all, the deleted scenes, there were so many of them. Like, clearly they had to make a 90-minute deadline. Like, they had to have had a 90-minute film. So a lot of shit was cut out. But a lot of shit was cut out. Like, there were some alternate scenes that were pretty good, and I really appreciate almost every deleted scene. But there's also, and it'll kind of be explained a little bit more when I get to the making of, but the there's an entire act, like all of Act 3 was filmed, scrapped, and then refilmed, and it's completely different. I thought it was going to be like, oh, they just changed like the way the president showed up, but no, it's the entire end of the film, and some of it works, some of it doesn't. But everything that doesn't tie directly to the way that end sequence goes, with like meeting the aliens and choking them and being like, oh, we're not so different after all, and pissing out of their fingers and stuff, that stuff is important. But when George turns into a giant Hulk man that rips and eats aliens apart, when they completely redesign the alien suit, when they completely cut out, basically, like, there's double the amount of Matrix references in the final version than there was in the original cut. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff with Orpheus and the Oracle, like with Queen Latifah and what's his name. They have so many scenes together, and their relationship is so much more expanded upon in such a great way. And then on top of that, there's more Matrix stuff, because the final scene of the film that was cut out is Anna Faris, Cindy Campbell, in a full leather one-piece jumpsuit, half-zippered, having a Matrix fight with an army of the little girl from The Ring. Because it's doing a Matrix, so it's they're replacing the agents with the girl from The Ring, and then they not only does it happen like that, where she's just fighting like a very large group of the same copy and paste person. They do great references to they show one of them give the 7 days call mid fight, because there's always someone watching the tape at some point. Oh, man. And then, to top it all off, that whole scene of them fighting, I'm pretty sure happens on the last set of West Side Story. The original one. It might not be. It's a really generic, like, back lot with some fences and brick buildings and stuff. But it looks so much like West Side Story that I, for a second, couldn't even think of anything else. I'm like, this has to be from West Side Story. There's no way this isn't. Because it's not from The Matrix. I don't recognize that scene from The Matrix. The stuff that happens in it is from The Matrix, but the actual scene isn't. Really, really, really interesting. So there's the making of, right? There's also a making... And there's so many deleted scenes. That movie could have been 2 hours long. And I would have loved every second of it. But then on the making of, almost immediately the director's like, yeah, the script that got sold is nowhere near the script that we shot. And they go into pretty heavy detail that essentially every scene was kind of rewritten like 2 to 4 days before it was shot. Some of those included like actual like scenery differences and stuff too. So they were like scrambling and making this movie almost on the spot. They even talk about how like they're like, yeah, mid shoot a movie would come out, and we would come up with such great jokes that we had to write it into the movie. So there's actually there's references to movies that didn't even exist yet. Which is really cool, I think. The director, I really need to see the Naked Gun movies, because clearly everyone loves this guy. They have like returning DPs and like very much like, it's not just the director of Naked Gun that came along with this. This is like the whole crew, the producer and everybody. It's great. Great, there's a truck coming over here. I'm feeling a little anxious. I'm not going to look up in hopes that he doesn't stop. Because I don't care about this man. He's going to try and police me into moving my car, even though he takes up more than half the fucking space. Fantastic. So, on top of the making of, like... God, what a cunt. What a cunt-ass cunt. Sorry, I'm distracted. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. I hate that guy. He tried to fight one of my friends like a year or two ago. And, 2 years at least. And he threw his salad at my friend's car because he was drunk in the middle of the road and yelling at cars. And somehow, and my buddy is not afraid to stop and confront somebody. Good stuff. He fucking deserved getting clocked. Anyway, yeah, I really need to see the Naked Gun movies, though, because the director, clearly everyone loves him, and everyone loves working with that crew and everything, because everyone was just having a great time. And, like, normally when someone describes constant script changes, it's frustrating, but for them, they loved it. Maybe that was just because of the making of featurette that they wanted to make it seem like it was a lot more fun than it really was. I wouldn't doubt it, but at the same time, I also totally believe that they had enough fun with it, because it's a lot of comedians, like funny people doing funny things, and they had a lot of like real people in it too. Like, it was a really, they go into it. They're like, yeah, apparently Kevin Hart was only supposed to have like one line, and Kevin Hart ended up writing his entire character in because everyone just loved him being like such a cunt. And no, I'm not a fan of Kevin Hart either, but when he is the little short guy in the scary movies, I love him. I love seeing him get into situations with that one dude from Blackish that I can never remember the name of, Anthony something. He went to sleep and he woke up dead. Man, how do you wake up dead? I love that shit. So you can go to sleep. You could go to sleep dead. He's like, no, man, you can't go to sleep. That's redundant. You can't go to sleep dead. You wake up dead. And I think of the next one. He turns up missing. He's like, man, how do you turn up missing? I love those little jib jabs back and forth. That's comedy. Yeah, that's really what made me, like, I wish I wasn't giving this film a 5-star already, due to like nostalgia and just pure love for the film, because the film deserves an extra star just for what it went through to make what it is. It was amazing. It was such a good thing that exists. It's a shame the Weinstein's name is still tied to it. I'm pretty sure they're the reason that there's so many upskirts shots in this film. There's at least like 4 or 6 of them or something like that. Yeah, I just wanted to get that in, because the fourth one I was going to talk about, I actually want to save for my next episode, because I think I can get a full short, like, whatever. I'll figure it out. anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to contact me or tell me things of how I'm wrong so I can tell you you're wrong. I stopped participating in most social media, so if you want to argue with me on the internet, you have to do it through here. Or Letterboxd, I guess, if you really want to, drag some lines out, because imagine going through my Letterboxd and reading my long-winded reviews just to complain about them. You should, though. You should read my long-winded reviews, because some of them are shit, but some of them I'm really fucking proud of. My Clockwork Orange one is good. Yeah, you should read my first long-winded review, which is only like a paragraph. It's a 1972, 81 Gums, the Jaws porno ripoff. It was the first time I ever took notes watching a movie, and it's the first time I realized that I enjoy writing long-form reviews, because on there I can say things, and it all reinforces itself, because it's all about me, just like this podcast. Which I'm pretty sure is over now. We got through the 4 films. Anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to reach out and tell me I'm wrong. Because I'm not, and I don't think you can prove that. And I don't know, man. How many people stay till like the last 30 seconds? I am personally a person that will listen to the end, and I'll be like, "Come on, dude, just get to the end." And and I like a little jib jabbing at the end to sandwich in the content. So like when I go like, "And yeah," it's me going like, I should really be talking about something else. I should not be ending it by like saying, "Okay, bye." I should be saying other words. I exist in the world. I do more than watch movies. I played video games for the first time in like 2 or 3 months yesterday. That was important. Not for long, but it felt good to at least do something. Yeah. That's, you've been listening to Taste Like Tea, a podcast in which I talk about myself. My name is Theo. I don't know why I said it like that. This is Taste Like Tea, podcast about me. I am me. T-M-I. I am T. Shut the fuck up. Goodbye.